So we're still letting some people in. We're very excited about this month's Hispanic Professionals in Parks and Recreation webinar. It's really focused on women and our allies, the men who support us. We are very excited to just have this conversation and hopefully start something new, and we have a few resources that we want to share. So we hope that these resources are of help to other women, and we also want to be a resource for each other. So definitely very excited. Looking forward to a lot of work that we are doing in Parks and Recreation, a lot of movement. You know, there's a lot of us out there shuffling and ruffling feathers. And you know, one of my coworkers in Seattle, when I worked for Seattle, is Tiffany Johnson, and she did a presentation this past NRPA that said, you know, that get into that good trouble, causing that good trouble, keep your foot on the pedal. So definitely, I feel like that's a lot of us here. So I'm going to share my screen for off and on so that we can kind of stay on topic, but I also want to see your guys's faces and everything too. So again, thank you for joining us today. We'll be doing our Women for Women in Parks and Recreation. And then of course, the amazing gentlemen and allies that we have supporting us. My screen's pictures.
Oh, I'm a big cheerleader still.
Yes. So of course, always want to start with some type of quote, right? It's a part of our presentation, but Sonia Sotomayor is definitely an inspiration for a lot of us. We know she's one of the first women to be on the Supreme Court, and then she's also the first Hispanic, the first Latina, so definitely an inspiration. So the Latina in me is an ember that blazes forever. And it's definitely speaks to me, speaks to my heart. I know it speaks to a lot of us. So again, my name is Angie Encerrado Rance. I am a recreation supervisor for the city of Shoreline. The city of Shoreline is just north of Seattle here in Washington for you guys, just so you guys have an idea. I did work for the city of Seattle for 4 years, and I've been here with the city of Shoreline for almost 6 years now. And I've had the pleasure of working for the city of El Paso, my hometown in Texas, for 2 years down there. Maria?
Everybody, I am co-hosting and making sure everybody in the waiting room is in. But I am Maria Cepeda. I am a special events and facility coordinator for Town of Huntersville. Previous to that, I was in Mecklenburg County. And then I had worked at the Y before that, and then in my internship in Texas. So I am a young professional, and I invited some guests here with me today. Who not only inspire me, but, you know, inspire others. And I see the things that they're doing. So we're really excited to have you guys here today.
So again, we're gonna definitely go through and ask everybody to introduce themselves, and then just let us know the agency and your current position, how many years you've been with Parks and Recreation, and what is your dream position? If you know, can do anything within Parks and Recreation or not, what is your dream position? And you know, kind of maybe where do you want to be when you retire, right, from this amazing job? So for myself, I definitely would love to be a director for a Parks and Recreation department, and a smaller one like the city of Shoreline. We have about 60,000 people here. So definitely I feel like I'm, you know, able to reach more families and touch more people and be more in the face, present. Not that you can't do it in larger cities, but I think it's definitely, you know, somewhere that you want to be. And then definitely would be a plus if it was a city kind of like in the south of Seattle, south end of this Pacific Northwest place where there's more Hispanics. I would definitely love to do something like that. That would be my dream position where I want to, you know, retire from. So I'm going to just pick people by random. If you guys can introduce yourselves and answer our questions. I'm going to go with Lakita. I have you here on my screen first.
I swear I'm always first. I swear, no matter where. Hello, ladies. I'm Lakita Frazier. I am currently a senior consultant with Barry Dunn. Been there since August, but I spent 28 years in public parks and recreation. And 20 of those as a director and executive director. I'm living my dream position. I have the opportunity to serve as a consultant to many communities all across the country and actually really share my love and passion for recreation in a way that I didn't see before. And yeah, I'm living the dream, ladies. Thanks for having me.
Nicole?
Hey, hi y'all. My name is Nicole Hopkins. I am the recreation programmer for Handling Meadowbrook Community Center in the city of Fort Worth, Texas. I have been working for Parks and Rec now. It's weird for me. I started working in Parks and Recreation in 2017. In my hometown, the city of El Paso as well, under the after school programmers, and then got myself up to the position of recreation specialist, which is the second command for the centers there. Took an 11-month hiatus to become a stay-at-home mom for my 20-month-old now. And then for the last 9 months, I have been working here for the city of Fort Worth. My dream position is a coordinator-like position. Director, I appreciate what they do, but I know that's just not attainable for myself. But I do have dreams of becoming a coordinator and leading, whether it is within special events, which is one of my specialties, or an after-school programmer, which is where my love is and my center focus is. That's one of the hopes and dreams right now.
Yeah, okay. I'm laughing because Debbie
Love
Jo's
that.
pointing at her white hair. She says that's what happens when you become a director.
Or either you just cut it all off. Yeah.
I mean, right now my grays are starting to come out right now, and I'm like, "Oh, no, we can't be doing that. No, I don't need those right now."
Katie, can you go next?
Hi, I'm Katie Keller. I'm the director of Pittsboro, here in North Carolina right now. And I've been in the field. I was trying to count in my head and I am terrible at math. So I think 13, 14 years have been in the field. I started at a larger department and whenever I first got in the field, and have continued to work myself down to smaller populations. I actually, similar to Lakita, of like where we are in our lives of like kind of living my dream position right now. So I'm not really sure where that's going to take me after this. Right now, I'm building a department from the ground up, and we are a very growing, fastly growing community. And so it's been pretty cool. And I hear you on this, Angie, earlier, of saying of, smaller departments seem to be a little bit more calling for right now where I'm at as well. And so having a lot of fun here.
Awesome, thank you. Molly?
And hi everyone, I'm Molly Keys, Director of Parks and Rec in the town of South Windsor, Connecticut. So we are in Hartford County, if anyone has ever come over to Connecticut. So we have around 27,000 people in our town. And I have a full-time staff of about 24 between parks and recreation employees and like 300 seasonal. And it's funny because we're a large department in Connecticut, but in the grand scheme of things, we're a very small department. So when you go to nationals and I talk about that size, everyone's like, oh, small department. I'm like, oh, yeah. But in Connecticut, everyone's like, no, I only have one person. So
Yeah.
It's just funny with that perspective there. So I've been in this position. This is my third year. And, I've been very thankful. I've also built the department from the ground up. Everyone kind of left or transitioned out as I was coming in. And it's been really nice to kind of build up my own team and work together to come up with some really awesome new projects and redo our master plan. I can't really say what my dream position is. I feel like I'm doing really well where I'm at, and I'm happy to be here. But at the same time, I am a young professional. I'm probably not going to be here until I retire. I hope that I can either, maybe go to a little bit of a bigger city, or my background is YMCA. So maybe eventually I'll go back to become a CEO potentially at a YMCA. Anything where I can really be rooted in the community, I'd be happy with. So I'm happy to be here with everyone today. So thank you.
Thank you for being here. Sonia?
Hi, everyone. My name is Sonia Howard. I work for the City of Euless. Currently, right now, I am the Senior Center Supervisor. I have been in the industry now for 6 years. My background, I started actually part-time, and then from there moved to Rec Program Coordinator. I was over day camps, young adult programming, family programming, and then from there, I positioned up to rec supervisor. At that point, I was over special events as well and was over aquatics for a short time. I was the interim while we were getting a new aquatic supervisor. So I learned a little bit of aquatics. But yeah, now I'm here on our senior center side. We have our population close to 60,000. And dream position, I'm currently discovering still. I recently have been looking into recreational therapy. That's very interesting for me right now. But yeah, right now I'm just taking in, learning as much as I can to see what the future holds.
Thank you. Melissa?
Hi, everyone. Not sure if you can see me. I just turned my camera on. I'm Melissa De La Cruz. I work with the City of Dallas. I'm a business manager for our citywide athletics, reservations, and events division. So that includes aquatics, golf, tennis, reservations, and our youth sports service areas. I've worked for City of Dallas Park and Recreation for 6 years now. And before coming to City of Dallas Parks and Rec, I worked still with the City of Dallas, but in another department, and I kind of ended up in Park and Rec, and I haven't looked back since then. I'm like, I want to stay in Parks and Rec, and hopefully continue to move on in my career through the Parks and Rec field. So hopefully an assistant director at some point, and hopefully director as well. Thank you for having me, and thank you for hosting this event.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. So I'm gonna just let the gentlemen introduce themselves, our supporters, allies. Edwin.
Hello, everybody. My name is Edwin Rivera. I'm currently a PhD student at Clemson University and the chair of Hispanic Professionals in Parks and Recreation. I'm very happy to support our professionals in all the aspects, and I'm very happy that our board members are organizing this for everybody, and our goal is to create spaces for everybody. And I mean, I have worked in summer camps. I have worked with the city of Fairfax in Virginia for some years. Worked in the Maryland Park and Planning Commission as a facility director, residential summer camps in the private and nonprofit sector. And then decide to go to a PhD. So we'll see where this takes me next. I love research, and particularly with Hispanics in residential summer camps, community recreation, all that kind of stuff. So what's next? Who knows? But we'll see. Thank you for being here today.
Matt.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Matt Martinez. I'm the recreation supervisor with Wichita Parks and Recreation in Kansas. I've been in this position for 18 years. My dream position is probably to be a recreation superintendent and then maybe down the road a director. But I'm here to support this awesome thing that Angie and them are doing. So this is fantastic, and I'm glad that everybody's attending this, and I look forward to being here.
And we have Tony.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tony Salinas. Having technical difficulties, camera isn't working, but I am the recreation supervisor for the Northeast Division of City of Phoenix Parks and Recreation. I've been with the City of Phoenix going on 24 years now. And I started as a participant, worked my way up, volunteer, part-time, full-time. And where I would like to end up, I guess the mayor's pretty cool. So no, I'm kidding.
Yes.
As high as I can get, I guess I'll say that. My time is running out. I don't have that much time left when I'm eligible to retire, but it's been a fun ride, and I'm glad to be to have been linked up with a group like this. So thank you for joining, and I'm excited to see what the presentation is. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Tony. So we have a question on here that I just want you guys to think about, and we'll get back to it if we have time at the end. It's just about women in Parks and Recreation that inspire us. Some of us are on calls here with us. Some of us are, work with us in the same department, and some are across the country. So if you guys just think about that, if we can get back to it at the end of the conversation, we will. So just someone who might inspire you. We do have some special guests. I want to start off with Miss Debbie Joe. She is the director for the Parks and Recreation and Open Space for Bernalillo County. So I just wanted to have Debbie Joe share with us just a few questions that we have for her. Debbie Joe, like she mentioned earlier, when we started, is at the tail end of her career. So Debbie Joe has probably seen it all and then some. She she has this beautiful white hair, but that we absolutely love. But yes, this position, just like our children and our families and life, gives us white hairs.
Right.
But Debbie Joe, just wanted to get started with if you can just introduce yourself, let us know a little bit about what you're currently doing, in your position, but where you started off also.
Okay. Sounds good. Hi, everybody. Again, my name is Debbie Joel Maguer, and I am like Angie said, I'm the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Open Space for Bernalillo County here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I've been here in February, it'll be 9 years. And prior to then, I was at City of Santa Fe as the Recreation Director. And then prior to then, I was there for 2 years. Before then, I was in Ruidoso in my hometown. As the Director of Parks and Recreation. It's a little town, maybe about 6,000 if you guys have ever been to Ruidoso. It's a tourist town. And then I went there twice. And then I was 10 years in Los Alamos, New Mexico, where the lab, National Labs is there, Oppenheimer, all that, the whole movie going on right now. I was there for 10 years started out as the Recreation Superintendent, then the Recreation Director. I had a year out at City of San Fernando in California as the Recreation Director there. And then that brought me, I was in Ruidoso twice, 4 years as the director. So and then I'll be retiring here probably in about another year or so. And I'll go back home. I have what I did in 1995 is I purchased a little casita, an old adobe casita on 2 acres, and about 76 acres next to it. And that's where I'll retire to. My dad completely remodeled my home. I restored it, and they've been taking care of it. I lost my dad 4 years ago, but my mama still lives there, so I take care of her there. She's over there and I'm over here, but eventually I'll go back and take care of her. But I started out as a lifeguard, when I was 16, 7, I'm 62 now, but 33 years full-time in Parks and Recreation. 1990, I got hired in the city of Dallas, the Anita Martinez Recreation Center there in West Dallas in the barrio. I was the center manager there. Probably my favorite job of all of them. Even though I had these goals to move myself up, in which I did, but that was one of my favorite jobs. But once you like you say, once you get into management, sorry, my voice is a little
you're fine.
scratchy.
No,
once you get into management, you start dealing more with the personnel issues or things like that, or funding. You got to go before the commissions or councils and stuff like that. But anyway, when I started, there was very few Latinos, let alone female Latinas in the field. I did get my BA before I got into the field. I got it in leisure services and physical fitness. I've always liked physical fitness. At one time wanted to be a personal trainer, and I actually had a job offer from Franco Colombo, professional bodybuilder. He's passed away now, but he's the one that trained Rocky for the Rocky movies. Sylvester Stallone for the Rocky movies.
Awesome.
But, but life happened. My ex-husband ended up in a car accident and ended up paralyzed. I was pregnant at the time, and it was, then we didn't make it. 13 months, my daughter was born. When she was born at 13 months, we got divorced, and I went back and got my master's. So I've done this whole career as a single mom. So wonderful. I never remarried. So it can be done, ladies. You don't have to have that extra, you know. The only thing is you got to have programs you can put your kid. I put my daughter in every program we had.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
she learned everything: ballet folklorico, swimming, you name it, taekwondo, all of that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so next question.
Yeah, definitely. So
Mhm.
what would you say has been your biggest success? That, you know, you showed us an amazing plaque earlier about a Latino was a
Institute.
conference of type from
Yeah.
2000. So what would you say, was it that? What is your biggest success that you were definitely most proud of? And I know it's super hard because
Yeah.
we all have these small successes that amount to
Mhm.
something much bigger than us.
Yeah.
But if there's anything, you know, sometimes it's the smallest little thing that makes us the most proud about what we do.
I think, I mean, for me, of course, I mean, it's gonna be more personal, you know, being able to go through this field, being a single mom. You know, then
Yes.
my daughter now, she said she always wanted more children. Mom, I have more children. Me, I don't even, not even married anymore. She goes, well, Mama, women do it all the time. I said, well, not this woman. But I've got three granddaughters and a grandson now.
Yeah.
And so but being able to make it on, you know, persevering, you know, making sure that I try to, you know, to get my education along the way. I ended up going back after I got my divorce. I went back and got my master's. So I think the biggest achievement is getting, and then I went and then I worked on my PhD and that. So I think the biggest achievement would be that is to raising my daughter, single parent, still getting my education, still working. And so there's more than just, like you say, it's just more than just one thing. It's a little bit of, and just achieving one step at a time. I've heard some of y'all mention about trying to go and go from a small community to a bigger population. That's what I did. I started, you know, like I said, you know, in one center in city of Dallas, you know, in a big community, of course, in a big city, and then moved up, you know, population of 9,000, then population of 20,000, population of 80, that kind of stuff. And then finally here to where I'm at with the city of Bernalillo County. Although it's Bernalillo County, there's also the city of Albuquerque, but we still service all of the city. So we don't have this non-resident, whatever. Anybody that lives in the Albuquerque can come to our community centers, which I have 8 community centers and 5 pools and 52 parks. And it's I have almost 365 employees, but I have 8 sections. So I have section managers, and I was lucky enough this year that I got 2 deputy directors, and one is Andre Dixon, African-American, and then Gary Wolf. I stole him from the city, and I'm, you know, he's Caucasian, but he's been 25 years, and he used to work for me in Los Alamos. So I pride myself on diversity. I have a little bit of everybody working for me, you know, so of all races. You
That's
know,
awesome.
so, yeah.
Debbie, what made you what was your turning point of oh, I'm gonna just go back and get my master's? Like, what made you?
Yeah, there was my mentor, Leo Martinez. He, what do you call it? When after my ex-husband's accident occurred, you know, it was hard. It was tough. I mean, you know, here you have, he's 23 years old and he's paralyzed for the rest of his life, and he got mad at the world, you know, and it was just arguing and that stuff. So I finally, at that point, I decided I just can't take anymore. I took my mijita, you know, mija, and we divorced. And my mentor, he just passed away. We had his funeral 2 weeks ago, Dr. Leo Martinez. And I met him and Rose at 17 years old. And he told me, mija, come back. I'll get you a graduate assistantship. Because I'll get you, because he was there at Highlands, New Mexico Highlands. And he got me a graduate assistantship. I taught weight training, conditioning exercise, water exercise, and high impact aerobics. And I had classes like about 80 to 100 students in the class, you know, and I was teaching those, but I put my mija in the early childhood development programs. They have a really good education, early childhood social work. New Mexico Highlands is really good for social work degrees. And so I put her into that program. And he says, you know, come get your degree. And that way, when you get out, you get a better job. I had my job at the YMCA as soon as I graduated, the next day I started working the YMCA in Roswell. Unfortunately, that YMCA was going under, I guess, and they told me to start looking for work. So I ended up in Fort Worth at the McDonald YMCA in Fort Worth, Texas. And then I applied for the city of Dallas. So that was my biggest turning point, is going back and getting that master's, to the help of Leo and Rose. And they took care of me when I was teaching the classes in the evening. The classes started at 5:30, so they would pick her up at 5 o'clock from the daycare, take her home, and they would feed her, they would bathe her. By the time I got home, they'd have this big old plato of pescado or whatever. Eat, you're too skinny, you tell me, you're too skinny,
Yes.
eat, and but it was without them, of course I had my parents, but they lived down Ruidoso, but without them, it would have been harder. But so support, having somebody there, finding a mentor that's going to be there for you the whole time. Like I said, I kept in touch with Leo and Rose, and I still visit them till this day. Like I said, Leo just passed away couple weeks ago. So I went to his funeral in Santa Fe. They were at the cathedral in Santa Fe. But anyway, that was a turning point.
Well, Debbie Jo, thank you. You answered a few of my other questions earlier. One of them was you're so close to retirement. So you're gonna go and you have this little casita on 75 acres.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come and visit you one day.
Yes, do.
I love New Mexico. Like I said, I grew up in El Paso, so definitely been to Albuquerque. I've been to Los Alamos. I've been to Santa Fe. All of those
my
places
position will
are.
be open. Well, my position will be open soon.
Oh, my husband doesn't let me leave Seattle. So
oh, there you go. You gotta bring them with you. Oops, my light just went out.
Your lights, motion sensor, you were still for too long. Well, Debbie Jo, we want to thank you so much for being on this call with us on this webinar. You are an inspiration to so many of us. I think you most likely set a lot of trends forward, and definitely being at the tail end of your career is where, a lot of us are going to be. Down the line, of course, but hard work, perseverance, I can see all of that. We definitely met a few months ago, but I definitely already feel like you're an inspiration to me.
Oh, thank you.
Because that is something that, we all want to, grow up and be, hardworking, provide for our families and make a difference in our community. So thank you so much for being here with us and sharing.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, so I'm going to share my screen again here with you guys, and we'll keep going. So we'll get back to who inspires us. So we'll get back to sharing successes and struggles also, because we do have some more special guests on with us. We have Lakita from Women in Parks and Recreation Network. It's started off as a Facebook page, I feel, a few years ago, and then now it's growing into something more amazing. So I'll let Lakita and Maria take over and talk about Women in Parks and Recreation.
Yeah, I can go ahead and speak for a little bit. So for anybody knows Lakita Frazier, if anyone has ever had the opportunity to go to any of her sessions or hear her talk virtually, I mean, it is just like seeing someone for the first time on TV that you just absolutely adore. That's how it was for me. And also Tracy Crawford, when you guys, I was had the great honor of being your room host at conference, and I was just over the moon about it, because I mean, every time I hear you guys talk, it's just like I hear you guys talk for the first time, and I'm so hooked. So I wanted to introduce Lakita, and I also have a couple other guests with me as well that we'll introduce throughout the call. So Lakita, take it away.
Thank you. And so I realized once I introduced myself and where I worked at, that's not why you called me here, of course. I am the CEO and founder of Women in Parks and Recreation. And Women in Parks and Recreation, it came from a labor of love, pretty much the way this same group did. It came from a space knowing that we as women needed a space for the work that we do in recreation. We are different. It's okay. We're different. And so when we started out in 2018, I remember being in Baltimore. And if you go to our website, www.womeninparksandrecreation.org, you'll see there's a picture of us. And we all joined at the NRPA conference at Baltimore on the football field. And we went from then a little over 1,000 women to close to 12,000 women in our Facebook group. We are a nonprofit organization through the federal tax. And we are just excited about what's next. So you see here, our summit is coming up in April. The beautiful city of Norfolk, Virginia. They're hosting us, ladies. Like when I say they're hosting us, they're literally hosting us. I'm so honored to have a partnership with the city of Norfolk to allow us to come in and do a full day summit that it basically represents you belong in the room. The purpose of this summit is not just a whole bunch of educational tracks, but opportunities for us to connect and to rejuvenate in ways that we can't when we are apart from each other. So I hope that you all can join us in the city of Norfolk in April. Just went to the website, clicked on everything. Everything works. So you can register. We are updating our speakers. We have some phenomenal speakers that will be coming, and we also will have other opportunities for networking. And I just hope to see you guys there. Thank you for the work you're already doing. It's so important for us to have our voices lifted and to be heard. And thank you to the men that are on the call that are supporting the women in your spaces, because it's one thing to be in the room, but we have to open up that door and let other women in to sit at those tables. So I encourage you to keep being great no matter how you feel, and know that the work that you are doing is felt all around the world. There are 32 countries represented in Women in Parks and Recreation. So we are not alone in this thing, ladies. From all corners of this earth, recreation is still changing lives. So keep doing it. You got it. And I will say this, if you can, and I know it's not cheap, and you may say, Lakita, I don't want to go back to school. Going back to get my master's later was one of the best decisions that I ever could have made. It really has opened up not only my ability to speak better, but in this new life, the ability to write, to analyze. Those are things that I had to get from a different set, because I'm a social work major. My degree was in social work. So working on my public administration degree has really prepared me for this next level of what I want to do. So I just want to share and encourage you as another single mom that did it. You can do it, and we're here to support you. So that's all I have for you, Maria.
Thank you so much. I also have with me Katie Keller, who I've known Katie for a couple years now. Her and Jay Tryon came to my college at Wingate when they were in Indian Trail, North Carolina. And, you know, they talked about, thank goodness I went to class that day, because usually when there's speakers, I usually would skip. But I went to class that day and I was like, I really like this major that they're talking about. I want to do that. That sounds like so fun. You know, I was so miserable in the degree that I was in that I was just looking for next thing. You know, there was a lot of turning points in my life. My dad was diagnosed with cancer. He didn't have a long time with us. And I was just like, and one of the things he told me, he's like, just do something that you are happy in. And that's kind of what I was going through in my life at the time. And I said, well, I think I'm just going to change my major and work my way up and see what I can do. So with me, I have Katie Keller, who is an inspiration to me. If you see any of the Facebook posts from NRPA, you'll see the housewives of what is it, NRPA, because her husband comes. So you can kind of scope them out that way. But Katie, if you can just introduce to us just kind of how, not so much of how you got started, but kind of who inspires you and kind of what got you into this field.
Yeah, so I was originally a math major, and then found out that I'm not really good at math. So that kind of threw in a kink of where my path was going. I had played softball. I was on scholarship at Wingate University, where I had spoken to Maria. Also, thanks for coming to class that day. And before I transferred to Appalachian State University, and it was at Appalachian State where I really realized that math was not going to be in my favor. And I had an advisor really sit me down that was also a family friend, and sat me down, and she was like, you're not going to want to hear this. And I know that you don't want to go to this Parks and Recreation, but everything that you've been talking to me about and sitting in here is leading to this path. And I think that you should really just trust me. And I was very motivated by her. She was a very strong female in a very male dominant field in education at the higher education level. And what she had done. And so I was like, fine. And so I went to the Parks and Rec and I fell in love with it. And then I have kind of, whenever I went to Met County first, like Maria had done as well, and started out there, and then had met someone, Jay Tryon, who was an Indian Trail starting a new department, went there, and he got me really involved. And so also to the point of Lakita is I met her at an NRPA, and I had heard all about her name all this time. And I really was in one of those awestruck moments whenever she walked in the room of like having such a great energy. And I was like, wow, like I want that confidence. Like I want to be able to, come in and just it's not a commander room. It's more of a like homey vibe and just strong leadership. And especially in a male dominant field there wasn't a lot of that opportunity during that time when I was just coming into the field. I felt like, at least. And so seeing people like amazing women like Lakita, some of the other names that have been dropped on here, Lisa Paradis. Yeah, Roz, Lisa Paradis, Tiffany Johnson, like all of these other real powerhouse women that were coming in and that were just trailblazers. I was like, man, I just want to soak it all in and really have. And one of the things that all these ladies too have over the years, having your mentors has been a certain, like that has been it for me. Is I wouldn't have been able to get this far in my career without having strong mentors. But every single one of these ladies at one time or another has said to me of like, but you belong at the table. You need to be at the table. And so that is something that like more than anything has been my biggest takeaway and has really helped shape me along the way. And I encourage everyone as well.
Building that network. And I don't want to cut Kate off, but I want to share that I had never met Katie before. I attended a session that she did online for Indian Trail about branding. Didn't know her. But when it was time for WePar to get branded and to get off the ground, all I could hear was call Katie Keller. This woman didn't know who the hell I was. But I just called her. I said, listen, I need some help. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just talking. And to be able to call another woman and for her to drop whatever she was doing and carried us for this first 3 years. And it was tough for us and in complete transparency because we all are in these transitions, but we all have had each other's back. So I just wanted to say to you, Katie, like, thank you, because WePar would not be WePar without Katie Keller. So keep doing that great work, girl. I'm so proud of you.
Right back at you, right back at everyone on this call as well too. Like it's amazing. And one of the things too of networking and just bringing other women up, especially mentoring, making sure you're paying it forward is like a big priority, and really just having those conversations and genuine conversations, knowing that it's okay to be real, it's okay to be vulnerable.
Yeah, for sure. It is okay to be vulnerable. And Angie, I apologize. I might be kind of going off track, but my other guest too is Molly. So she's part of the YPN network. And for any of you guys that either have gone to conference or are involved in the YPN calls, I am such in awe at how strategic they are with everything that they do. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but I know that whatever it is that Katie, Cassie, Molly, and a couple other people that their names are going over me right now, whatever it is that they are doing is huge. And they're so strategic with everything that they do, from their branding to all of the socials that they do, to all of the pre-conference socials that they're doing, the calls. I mean, everything is so strategic, and just to even meet them at conference. And Molly, I think that was the first time I met you. It's just so cool to see. And also like Katie Mack, like she did the branding for the stickers that were given out at conference. And I'm just like, what? I mean, just the little things that you don't, right there, Katie. Just and QR codes and everything, and just the little things that you're like, oh, I need to be doing that. And some of the stuff that you guys are doing, we've been also trying to implement too, in Hispanic and Park and Rec group as well, with the QR codes, with the socials and everything. So the best form of flattery is copying or whatever. But anyway, just wanted to kind of highlight you guys. Molly, if you want to kind of talk briefly about YPN.
Yeah, so thank you, Maria. Appreciate it. I came into Parks and Rec 3 years ago from YMCA, and the first time I met a lot of these people, Katie Keller included, was at Nashville conference. And again, I was brand new. I was tossed in during COVID from the YMCA world into Parks and Rec, trying to find my footing, really trying to make those connections, try to find some mentors, some people I could call. And the Young Professional Network, I saw the stickers, so I was like, this is great. So, this is how you start to connect and go talk to people. And the Young Professional Network ended up being such a safe haven for myself and for many others that attend the calls all the time. Now we've kind of grown this connection really to be able to talk about things, engage in topics and questions that individuals in our field, and whether we're new, doesn't necessarily matter about your age, but whether you're new or you're transitioning from different positions, now we have that network of people that we can talk to, which is so fantastic. And I think, our goal really is to give that safe space to individuals. So we do meet once a month on Zoom, and we try to pick different topics that individuals give us through feedback. So I know January is our next one. We don't have a December meeting, and that's all on volunteerism, because we heard a lot about people wanting to learn about how to engage volunteers in their community. And then we have another one talking about prioritizing mental health, and talking about mental health just in terms of our community, but also in terms of us as professionals, and how important and vital that is to maintain our mental health and support those around us. So we're trying to pick topics that we can just kind of dive deeper in. We also started doing calls on the third Wednesday of every month called Rec Talk. And that's even diving deeper into those conversations. So there'll probably only be about 12 to 15 people on a call, but we'll sit there and we just really dive deep into a couple questions based on the call the day before. It's just such a fantastic network. I can't even speak highly enough of the individuals that, maybe are phasing out of it, but are still a part of it, right? But also those that are still heavily involved. And yeah, I mean, we have now a podcast going on that they started doing a lot more branding. We're going to be doing a newsletter, which is incredibly awesome to kind of really continue to grow that brand. And we're going to be really trying to highlight different articles from young professionals. And we'd, love to collaborate more with other networks as well, and other professionals that, want to talk about putting a newsletter piece in, or maybe speaking at our upcoming calls. But yeah, I don't really have much to say other than such a great network, and we're very fortunate for those connections. And I don't think that I would have stayed in my position, because it was incredibly hard. I don't think I would have stayed there if it wasn't for the people that I've met and I'm able to call when I need it. So, thank you.
And definitely talking about allies, Michael Biedenstein being one of them, Jay Tryon, John Stutzman, Nile Botts, Lisa too. Kelly, you as well, like the people that are doing, like reviewing the 30 under 30 nominations and all that, like that was huge. So talking about allies, Mecklenburg County's calling. Talking about allies, I mean, that is huge to be, not in per definition YPN, but like supporting that and supporting that group, and to have someone, different types of people support all the different groups is really exciting.
Well, and I think the goal of that as well, right? So we phase out eventually, but we leave that kind of network to continue to grow and form with these individuals that, it just keeps on going. I mean, I know Katie, you were one of the starting people for YPN, correct? Or you were big on it at one point. I don't know, maybe you didn't start it, but you were
No, didn't
into
start it, but yes, I was,
You're-
was one of the past presidents. But y'all do a great job, especially right now. Y'all have such a strong women leadership, like
Yeah.
in every aspect. And I think that is just, it is phenomenal. Whenever I came on, everything was male. And so like, I think that speaks volumes to y'all's current leadership right now. And that's just so amazing. So that's something y'all should be really proud about.
Yes, most definitely. So, Lakita put information. She might have to jump off soon, but her email is in the chat box if anybody wants to copy and paste it and things like that. It's there for you guys. Thank you so much to all of you ladies for joining us. I'm going to share my screen again so we can keep moving here. So we talked about women in parks. There's this book out there that I saw on the Facebook through Women in Parks that I read 3 times now. It's a great book. It's called Girl Get Moving. She was a presenter at NRPA recently too. So Dr. Sonia Reddick Shaw. It's a great book. So if you guys haven't purchased it, I encourage everybody. It's very affordable. Share it. If there is a possibility for us to do some type of book club work around it, we are definitely considering that. Talking to Maria, just saying like it's a great book. It's not too big, but it's very inspiring, and it's definitely has some great information in there for all of us. So that is one of the resources we would love to share with you, in addition to the Women in Parks Recreation and Parks and Recreation Facebook page. So the last thing I wanted to share is I just kind of came across this today. So I came across this equal pay for Latinas page information. So October 5th is the day that they've designated for equal pay, Latino Equal Pay Day. And then here's just some information, talking about we make 55 cents to the dollar versus a white male. And some of the things that we can do if we feel like that, we're not, that there's some inequities, consider sharing your salary with coworkers just to see if everybody's kind of on par, so that somebody's not getting left behind. It's not to boast about how much you're making, but just to make sure that everybody else is coming with you. One of my favorite quotes from the movie, oh my God, now I can't remember the movie. It's the women astronauts and they work in NASA. Figures, right? Hidden Figures. She says, forward movement for one of us is forward movement for all of us. So, this is, making sure that we're bringing everybody along with us. Ask HR department for information on how to share, how salaries are calculated. Ask your company to publish data. So a lot of us know this information because we work for the cities, right? We work for municipalities, and it's public information. Every year we have an email from our records department saying, hey, someone asked how much everybody makes and we need to post this, and we're just letting you know. So this is just some information. It is very well known that women in general make less money than white males, and it's also, but it's also, even worse for Latina women. We make even less money. So there's, a whole movement across this too. There's also the National Recreation and Parks Ethnic Minority Society. That's also a great resource. They have scholarships available for several activities like conferences. You can always apply for a scholarship through them to go to NRPA next year. And they have mentor programs, so all of that. So you do have to join, but it is a great resource out there. And then so that's it for the slideshow part. But we did, have some things out there, and we have just a few minutes left. So we've talked about women who inspire us in Parks and Recreation. We mentioned Tiffany Johnson briefly. She's a good friend of mine. I worked with her for a few years in Seattle. one of our really good friends, my bestest friend in the whole world, passed away. And Tiffany Johnson was really there for me because I didn't work for the city of Seattle anymore. It was still someone that reached out to me every single day to see how I was doing after I lost my best friend. She was a really good friend of Tiffany's and a coworker. So she's definitely someone who has inspired me to, kind of move on and and be able to move on just through tragedies, because again, a lot of that hits a lot of us differently than it does others, and especially men. So we want to grieve, right? And we grieve differently. Everybody does, but I feel like women probably grieve even more differently than we do for men. So I definitely appreciate. But Tiffany also has the Leadership Academy that she does, and it's a great resource also. So if anybody has an opportunity to join that or be part of that, it's a great group of women that get together and great speakers, all of that. So she's definitely someone that inspires me, and I reach out to her a lot here in because she's just 10 minutes away. So if I need anything, she's always a phone call away too. So again, we have a couple minutes left. We had a couple of things that we didn't get a chance to share, but if anybody wants to share who inspires them, or any struggles or successes that you have overcome in your career so far.
I just wanted to add, let me turn my light on real quick.
Okay.
I don't want to be in the dark. That picture behind me right there is my dad and me. Back in the early 70s, Ricardo Falcon, he was part of the La Raza Unida in Colorado when we used to live there in elementary school. And he was shot in Oro Grande. They're in Texas, near the El Paso border for trying to go to the La Raza Unida National Conference. And so then they asked my dad to run in his place because Ricardo Falcon was running for the House of Representatives in Colorado. So they asked my dad to run, and the whole thing was, again, going back to what Katie was saying about, or Lakita was saying about education. It says basically, Jose Almaguer, the schools in Colorado must be changed not only to better serve the Chicanos, but of all students. And so again, it goes back to making sure that we try to, pursue that education, and then just keep moving along the way and aspiring to keep those, whatever dream job you want. Like I said, mine will be up for grabs here pretty soon. So remember that, keep an eye out for Bernalillo County Parks and Rec Director. Okay.
Thank you, Debbie.
You're welcome.
Thank you everybody that joined today. Molly, Katie, Lakita, Miss Debbie, thank you so much. And everybody else, not high in numbers, but that's okay. I feel like we're such a growing group. Word's going to spread, and almost kind of like a 1v1, one person per one person. It's, kind of sentimental in that sense, that we can kind of have some really great advice and, compassion towards each other. So just wanted to thank everyone that jumped on the call, and everybody that was our special guest. And Angie, thank you for putting this together. This was really super informative and super great to have everybody on.
It is definitely. And thank you, Maria, too. Maria, I always tell her that she's an inspiration to me too, because she has so much energy and so much thrive that I'm just, so in awe when I get to hang out with Maria and speak with her. And, part of our goal, for us, not goal, but one of the things is that we are here as board members of the Hispanic professionals in Parks and Recreation. So that speaks volumes to the work that we're committed to. Edwin started with this idea, and then Eric shared the idea, and the rest of us have really shared the idea too. So us being board members of this type of network, and we are thriving to reach a goal like and be as as big and as resourceful as Women in Parks and Recreation, Young Professionals Group, all of these other organizations that are out there supporting us. We want to do the same and really focusing on Hispanic professionals. But us, again, we're here as board members too, not only as women in Parks and Recreation, but we're board members because we're really focusing on this Hispanic movement too. So anything else from anyone before we get to go? We hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Hope everybody has great holidays coming up here. We'll keep posting on our Facebook page, and we also have our website that you guys can visit with more information on more webinars. And then our group, the Hispanic professionals, are going to start our own mentoring program soon. So definitely have an opportunity to be a mentor and a mentee and send people our way.
I have a question. This is Tony.
Yes.
So as a male that's in the, dominated field by men, what can we do to support or just be that branch for anybody that is struggling or just wants some insight on promotion, anything regarding parks and recreation? What can we do for the women that are in our field?
Yeah, definitely a great question. What can you do to be our ally, right? Of course. So I think for us, if you know anybody, Tony, that needs a little bit of push or shove, send them our way, right? Say, hey, Angie, Maria, can you reach out to this person and have a conversation about the successes again and struggles of being a woman in parks and recreation, but the successes is what I, definitely wanted to focus on, and send them our way so that we can have that conversation, right? Katie talked about it, where you have to have that tough conversation with someone and say, if you're going to get to this position, you're going to have to work hard. And I think creating opportunities for staff, in which I know Tony does a lot, but for trainings, right? Hey, we have a training I think you should attend. Hey, there's this certificate that you can get that can promote your career in parks and recreation. So encouraging people and allowing for that opportunity. Again, sometimes this is out of our control because budgets, but being an advocate for that, I think, is a great way to help encourage more women to continue in this field, and showing again that there's so many women that are already at the top of their game here in parks and recreation.
Yeah, and I think, Tony, to Angie's point, just, I love being asked, can you be a part of this group or this focus group, and kind of what are your thoughts on this, and what do you think about this? And also, like, knowing that you might ask us one question one day of the month, and if you ask us another question another day of the month, you might not get the same answer as far as how we're feeling. And that's just, I mean, that's biological, that's natural, that's
Yeah.
we're gonna have our moments where we're not, sorry to get gross, but we all have our certain times of the month where the answer might not be the same. And there's premenopause, there's postmenopause.
Yes.
I just wanted, I'll just add, from the male perspective, like I said, I was in the field when there was hardly any females and it's still very, very few of us still, but just the respect that goes across of respecting us as professionals as well. Just don't look at us as like, sexual figures or even like that. No, nothing sexist or anything like that, in that part. So just a professional respect of what we do in the field as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Like to Maria's point too, like last night I got 3 hours of sleep because my daughter just didn't want to go to sleep. She wasn't feeling sick. She just had enough naps throughout the day, so I come in to work and everybody starts wow, 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 and I'm all, give me 2 minutes.
But even like from my experience, having like Chris Noons or Edwin just be like, hey, do you want to be a part of this like group? Like, did I think I should have been part of the group in the beginning? Probably not, because I'm like, I just started, I don't know. But just to have someone ask that, and then every day I'm still, I still struggle with like, what can I do? What can I provide? But I mean, and it'll probably be an ongoing thing, but just being asked, like, can you help with this? Like, that to me is just rewarding enough. And, and then that way I can ask other women in the field, like, can you help with this? Yeah. What do you think about this? So,
yeah. That's a good point, Maria, because sometimes we don't see in ourselves what we're capable of doing and other people do. So definitely when you are in the field and you see some capacity of certain people, you think like that person can, contribute in this way or another way, or or do better in another position. I think encouraging that person to apply or be part of that, I think it's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, again, thank you so much, everyone. We appreciate all the love and support, all of the special guest speakers. Debbie Jo, congratulations. Let me know when the retirement party is. I'll tell my husband I have to go to El Paso, and then I'll drive up. I'll drive up. So thank you, everybody, so much. Women and our allies, thank you, gentlemen, for being here. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everybody.